You don't need a pill to restore your night vision, you just need to change your evening snack. I know that sounds bold. But, after more than 30 years of working with older adults, I can tell you this. The decline in eyesight and memory we blame on just aging is not as automatic as you think. And in many cases, it can be slowed or even gently reversed through simple, consistent nutrition. Here's what the numbers show us. According to the National Eye Institute, nearly half of Americans over 75 report major difficulty seeing in low light. Not just some inconvenience, but true limitations, and it doesn't wait until 75. The slide often begins in your early 60 seconds, or earlier if you're under stress. Meanwhile, over 6.5 million Americans above age 65 are currently living with mild cognitive impairment, something that doesn't show up on routine checkups until it's already progressed. But what if that slide wasn't inevitable? What if the right nutrients, ones found not in a bottle, but in common, shelf-stable fruits, could feed your retina, strengthen your neural circuits, and help your eyes and brain work better together again? Today, I want to show you how 3 simple dried fruits, the kind you've probably walked past at the store 100 times, can quietly support the very systems aging tries to steal. Clearer vision after dark, better word recall when conversations start to slip, and maybe most importantly, renewed confidence in how you move through your evenings. Each one of these fruits does something unique. One helps fuel your retina, another targets the oxidative stress that fogs up your thinking, but the last one? That one's different. Its effect on both memory and visual sharpness is so profound that many of my patients tell me it helped them feel like themselves again, sometimes within weeks. And in a moment, I'll show you exactly what it is and how to make it part of your routine without worrying about sugar spikes. If this is your first time here, welcome to Senior Brain Vision. I'm Dr. James Porter, and if you want honest, science-backed strategies to protect your mind and your eyes after 60, feel free to subscribe. You're exactly where you belong. Now let's begin. The first fruit on this list goes all the way back to ancient times, and it may just be the secret to clearer nights. Let's start with the first dried fruit on our list, figs. They've been eaten for thousands of years, but what most people don't realize is that figs are not just sweet snacks. They are one of nature's most concentrated sources of eye and brain nutrients. And the real magic lies in how they work, especially for adults over 60, who are noticing changes in how clearly they see and how quickly they think. Here's the science. As we age, 2 things quietly happen at the same time. First, the retina becomes less responsive to light. You may notice this when your eyes take longer to adjust after coming indoors. Second, the communication between neurons, especially in areas of memory like the hippocampus, slows down. The result is mental fog, short-term memory slips, and trouble keeping up in conversation. Figs offer a unique blend of natural compounds that target both problems at once. They're rich in polyphenols, particularly flavonoids, like quercetin and luteolin. These have been shown in multiple studies to reduce oxidative damage in retinal tissue and improve electrical responsiveness in photoreceptor cells. In other words, figs help your eyes stay alert to changes in light, something critical for night vision. In a 2020 study published in the Journal of Food Biochemistry, researchers found that fig extracts improved retinal function and reduced inflammation in aged lab models. The findings suggested that polyphenols in figs helped stabilize mitochondrial function in retinal cells, which is key for preventing the degeneration that leads to poor contrast and cloudy vision. But the benefits go even deeper. Figs also contain natural sugars bound to soluble fiber. This slows digestion and prevents blood sugar spikes, something that protects the small blood vessels in the eyes and brain. Chronic glucose surges are a major cause of microvascular damage, leading to blurry vision and reduced cerebral perfusion. Most importantly, figs are a powerful source of magnesium and potassium, 2 minerals essential for neuroplasticity. According to a 2019 review in the journal Nutrients, magnesium plays a direct role in regulating NMDA receptors in the brain. These receptors are critical for memory formation, synaptic signaling, and what scientists call long-term potentiation, a process that underlies how we store and retrieve information. In plain English, figs nourish the brain's wiring system. They help neurons fire faster, signal more clearly, and recover more quickly after stress. I had a patient named Grace. She was 72, a retired piano teacher who told me, "I still remember every note, but I forget why I walked into a room." Her vision had also become unreliable in dim light. We ran her labs, low magnesium, high fasting glucose, early signs of neuroinflammation. I made a few gentle changes. One of them? A small serving of dried figs, with her afternoon tea. Just 3 pieces a day. 6 weeks later, she returned and said something I'll never forget. "The lights feel softer again, and I don't lose my train of thought halfway through a sentence." That's what real nourishment can do. Now, how should you use them? If you're over 60, just 2 or 3 dried figs a day is enough. Pair them with a few nuts or a slice of cheese to avoid sugar spikes. Enjoy them in oatmeal, yogurt, or simply as a soft, chewy afternoon bite. Always choose plain, unsweetened figs, those dark, rich ones packed with polyphenols. You don't need to overthink it. Just a few figs, every day. That's all. Because when you give your body what it's quietly been missing, you don't just see more clearly. You begin to feel more like yourself again. And now that you've seen how figs restore retinal response and mental clarity, it's time for a smaller fruit with a powerful mission. One that fights the silent enemy, aging your vision and memory from the inside out. Let's talk about raisins. As we age, clarity doesn't disappear all at once. It fades slowly, like a window fogging over. Words slip, night lights glare, reading feels heavier. And in both the eyes and the brain, one of the biggest culprits is something most people never think about: oxidative stress. This silent process happens when unstable molecules called free radicals outpace your body's natural defenses. It's part of aging, but when it goes unchecked, it damages the cells that keep your mind sharp and your vision clean. The retina, which processes light, is especially vulnerable. It uses more oxygen than almost any tissue in the body. That means more stress, more risk, and more need for protection. Raisins may not look impressive, but inside these tiny, wrinkled fruits is a high concentration of antioxidants, specifically polyphenols like catechins, procyanidins, and epicatechins. These compounds fight oxidative stress and support the delicate tissues of your eyes and brain. A 2019 study in the journal Molecules showed that raisin extracts significantly reduced oxidative damage in eye cell models. Researchers found lower lipid peroxidation and stronger cellular resilience, which can help preserve the retina's ability to adapt to changing light, especially in the evening. That's only the beginning. In the brain, oxidative stress attacks the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, the very areas that control memory, attention, and problem-solving. When these cells are inflamed or oxidized, the results are noticeable: slower recall, mental fatigue, and that frustrating feeling of, "I know this, but I can't find the words." Raisins help here too. They contain natural boron, a trace mineral your brain uses to support cognitive performance. In 1994, a review published in Environmental Health Perspectives found that low boron intake was associated with decreased attention span, weaker short-term memory, and delayed motor responses in older adults. Few people get enough. Raisins provide an easy, consistent source. There's also resveratrol, a polyphenol more famously found in red wine. But it exists in raisins too, and it's valuable. A 2020 study in the journal Nutrients found that resveratrol reduced brain inflammation and improved memory performance in aging mice. While the dosage in raisins is modest, the long-term benefits of regular plant polyphenols add up, especially in combination with a healthy lifestyle. And then there's vascular support. Raisins are high in potassium, which helps regulate blood pressure and improve circulation. That matters more than most people realize. A 2021 paper in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience confirmed that poor midlife vascular health was directly linked to faster cognitive decline later in life. Good circulation keeps oxygen and nutrients flowing to the retina and memory centers, keeping them alive, responsive, and efficient. Raisins are not flashy, but they work. They're convenient, naturally sweet, and don't require refrigeration. And despite their sugar content, their fiber and polyphenols slow absorption, making them a better choice than processed snacks. Just a small handful, about 2 tablespoons, is enough. Eat them as they are, or mix into oatmeal or yogurt. For extra balance, pair with protein or fat like a few almonds. Always choose dark, sun-dried, unsweetened raisins. The deeper the color, the higher the polyphenol content. These are your quiet defenders, small, but steady. Their job is to hold back the fog, support the wiring, and protect what you still have. Because aging is not just about what fades, it's about how well you defend what remains. Next, we'll explore the fruit that does more than protect. It filters light, it nourishes memory circuits, and for many people I've worked with, it creates the most noticeable change of all. Let's talk about dates. Not all fruits simply nourish. Some help you filter the world more clearly. That's what dates do. Beyond their sweetness, dates provide deep neurological support. They're rich in magnesium, potassium, and polyphenols that affect how your brain and eyes adapt to light, handle stress, and retain memory, especially after 60, when natural hormone levels begin to shift and cellular recovery slows. Your retina is constantly bombarded by light. As it ages, it becomes more sensitive to glare and slower to adjust from light to dark. That's why older adults often struggle with night driving or bright screens. A 2015 study in the Journal of Functional Foods found that dates improved retinal antioxidant enzyme activity in aging rats exposed to intense light. The animals had less inflammation and faster recovery, suggesting dates could support retinal resilience in humans as well. But dates do more than protect the eyes. They help preserve the brain's internal wiring. A 2018 study in the journal Neuron showed that magnesium plays a direct role in maintaining synaptic strength in the hippocampus, the memory center of the brain. Researchers observed that even mild magnesium deficiency could impair long-term memory and emotional regulation. Dates, being naturally high in magnesium, help close that gap. They also support production of GABA, a neurotransmitter that calms the nervous system. This is vital at night, when the brain shifts from stimulation to repair. Healthy GABA levels mean better sleep, stronger memory consolidation, and less mental fatigue the next day. One patient who comes to mind is Arthur, a 69-year-old retired truck driver. He told me, "I used to drive cross-country at night, without a second thought. Now even the streetlights blur." He'd also started forgetting simple things, conversations, appointments, where he parked the car. His lab showed low magnesium and elevated evening cortisol. We didn't overload him with pills. We started small. One change. 2 soft dates in the evening, with a spoon of plain yogurt and a few walnuts. Within weeks, he looked lighter. He said, "I can read a road sign again without squinting, and my wife says I don't repeat myself as much." That's the kind of shift I see often, not dramatic, but meaningful. Now, about sugar. Yes, dates are sweet, but the key is timing and balance. 2 small dates after dinner, paired with protein or fat, are generally well tolerated, even in those watching blood sugar. The fiber slows the absorption, and the nutrient load gives more than it takes. Always choose soft, unsweetened dates like medjool or deglet noor. Avoid the glazed or candied kind. You want the rich, sticky texture and deep amber color that signals intact polyphenols. Think of dates not as a dessert, but as a nighttime signal to your body, one that tells your nervous system it's safe to slow down, because that's what true recovery requires. Not just fuel, but the kind of nourishment that calms the brain, supports visual reset, and protects your ability to think clearly when the lights go low. And now that you've seen how each of these dried fruits works individually, it's time to bring them together into one simple plan. No confusion, no stress. Just small, steady choices that help your brain and your vision hold strong. Let's build that daily routine, starting tonight. Now that you know what these 3 dried fruits can do, the question becomes simple. How do you actually use them? Because healing doesn't come from fancy diets or complicated protocols. What your eyes and brain need is consistency. A quiet signal, repeated daily, that says, "I'm still giving you what you need to stay sharp." Here's how I recommend starting. Choose 1 fruit for each part of your day, not to overwhelm yourself, but to build small, steady rhythms your nervous system can rely on. In the morning, begin with 2 or 3 dried figs. Their magnesium and polyphenols help set the tone for better circulation, retinal energy, and neural activation. You can eat them plain, add them to oatmeal, or pair with a few almonds to balance your blood sugar. Let this first act be simple, your way of feeding your clarity before the day begins. Around midday or early afternoon, have a small handful of raisins. They're easy to carry, and they work well as a natural break when your mind starts to fade. Combine them with a protein like yogurt, a slice of cheese, or even a boiled egg. The antioxidants will reduce the oxidative buildup that naturally accumulates through the morning, especially if you've been reading, focusing, or dealing with stress. Then in the evening, this is where the calm begins. 2 soft dates, taken after dinner, help transition the brain into rest and repair mode. Their magnesium, GABA support, and glucose buffering fiber make them ideal for supporting retinal recovery and memory consolidation. Pair them with a few walnuts, a spoonful of plain yogurt, or a calming herbal tea if you like. The goal isn't to snack, it's to send a message to your nervous system. It's time to reset. Stick to this rhythm daily, or at least 5 times a week. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be steady. And if that still feels like too much, start with just one change. Pick one fruit. Add it at one time of day. Let your body feel the difference. Then build from there. Because in the end, these aren't just foods. They're tools, signals, gentle daily nudges that tell your retina and your brain they are still being supported, still worth protecting. This isn't a short-term fix. This is a foundation. And the results? They don't happen overnight. But give it 2 weeks, then 4. One day, you'll catch yourself reading more easily at dusk, remembering names without pausing, or sleeping deeper than you have in months. That's when you'll know it's working. In the final part, I'll leave you with a reminder that matters more than any food or plan, why it's never too late to reclaim clarity. No matter your age, no matter how far the decline, your body still listens. Let's finish strong. If you've made it to this point, I want to thank you, truly. Because just by watching this far, you've already done something powerful. You've chosen to stay curious, to stay hopeful, and to believe at least a little that your brain and your vision are still worth fighting for. Too often, we're told to accept decline as a fact of life. That forgetfulness is normal. That blurry vision at night is just getting older. But I don't believe that. Not for a second. And if you've seen what I've seen, you wouldn't believe it either. I've worked with thousands of older adults. Some were facing real, measurable decline. Others just felt off slower, foggier, less confident. But across the board, I saw something repeat again and again. When the right nutrients were delivered consistently, gently, and in ways the body could use, things began to shift. Not magically, not overnight, but gradually. Vision sharpened, memory steadied, sleep deepened, and that quiet inner voice that says, "I'm still here," started to come back. That's what this video is really about. Yes, we've talked about figs, raisins, and dates. But more than that, we've talked about reclaiming rhythm, trusting that small, steady changes can build something strong even after years of decline. So as you close this video, I want you to remember one thing. Your nervous system is still listening. Your brain still wants to grow. Your eyes still want to adapt. And your body, no matter how old, is still capable of healing. And if you found this video helpful, please consider liking it, sharing it with someone you care about, or leaving a comment below. I read as many as I can, and your words might just give someone else the motivation to begin. If this is your first time here on Senior Brain Vision, I invite you to subscribe. I'm Dr. James Porter, and every week, I share real strategies to protect your clarity rooted in science, grounded in experience, and always made for people just like you. Until next time, stay sharp, stay steady, and never stop believing in your ability to change.